Good morning. Good morning, thriving warriors and those who wish they were. Today is, Alexa, what is the date?
Today is Wednesday, May 25th.
Great. And what is the time? Alexa, what is the time?
The time is 6:11 a.m.
And Alexa, what is the weather like?
In Pahrump, it's 62 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast calls for more of the same, with a high of 97 degrees and a low of 62 degrees.
Okay, a high of 97. So we haven't quite hit triple digits for good yet. And let's see if we need a little light here. Probably worse, but there we go. All right, so this is day 3, basic training, week 3, day 3. How to tell a compelling story. So on day 1, okay, so week 3 is about how do you get people to do what you want. That's called power. In business, it's called management. In the military, it's called leadership. In the real scheme of the world, it's called power. And power is neutral. It's what you do with it that makes it either positive or negative. So negative would be coercion, manipulation, extortion, things like that. On the good side, it's motivation, and at the extreme would be self-motivation. If you can self-motivate people, then you will win because you can affect people more easily because they're actually winding themselves up every day as the spring gets loosened and it needs to be rewind, they will wind themselves up if they're self-motivated. So an example of that would be religion. We're not here to talk about religion today. We're here to talk about day 3 of week 3. So, but it's about getting people to do what you want. Nobody can be successful unless you get people to do what you want. And that includes the simple things like, can you help me with this? It includes the simple things like, here's some money, I'd like to buy a banana. If you can't get people to do what you want, life will be very harsh and brutal and probably short. So week 3, how do you get people to do what you want? Day 1, David Logan said what? Very simple, 4 words. If you want, here's an easy way to get people to do what you want. Join tribe, nudge forward. And nudge, once again, does not mean push, pull, drag, nag. It's, hey, homie, come on, why don't we do this? Come on, let's go, homie. Or I have an idea. Or hey, how about if we try this? Or whatever. It's nudging, not forcing people to do something. Okay, so in that, joining tribe, which is the easier thing to do, join a tribe or nudge it forward. Joining a tribe is easier to do. We're all part of tribes. As David Logan says, that's what humans do. We join tribes, we form tribes. Birds fly, fish swim, people form tribes. We're social animals, and on a neuroscience level, the best, some say the best, most powerful hormone neurotransmitter is oxytocin. And what does that make us want to do? Cooperate, work together, help each other, reach out for help when we need it, etc. So join tribe, nudge forward. Joining tribe, not hard. We do it all the time. Nudging forward. Aha, that's a little trickier. So then we go to Seth Godin, who had a 4-step process on how do you nudge people forward. Find something to change. If you can't change anything, you can't nudge. You can't say, you're not nudging people, you don't have power if you say, okay, let's just keep doing what we're doing. Find something to change. Not hard to do. Ask around. What sucks around here? What can we do better? 2, tell a compelling story. 3, connect the true believers, and more importantly, ignore the non-true believers. And 4, lead them. Okay, so next week we're going to talk about lead them. So that's out. So of the three that are left, what's the harder thing? Find something to change? No, that's easy. So is it telling a compelling story or connecting the true believers? Which one? You might say connecting the true believers, but that's actually super easy because all you need to say is what? Who's with me? Basically, think of Jerry Maguire. Who is coming with me? So that leaves telling a compelling story, and that's what we're talking about today. And our guide for that is Simon Sinek, who had, maybe still does, the number 3 most popular TED Talk of all time. And he talks about telling a compelling story, and it's really very simple. He breaks it down to how, what, why. So, or what, how, why would be the better formula. So he draws some 3 circles and labels the outer one what, the middle circle how, and the inner circle why. And he says, we are used to communicating from the outside in. What? What is it we do? What do we want people to do? Everybody does that. So what do you do? What do you want to do? Well, here's what we do. Blah, 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 blah. And then companies talk about how we do it. Here's what we do, and we do it, and here's how we do it. We have the best people or the best technology or the best whatever. And they don't really spend a lot of time talking about why. In Simon's talk, he makes a point of Apple Computer. They do it the right way. They start with why. Why do they do what they do? And then he will bring it down to Simon Sinek will bring it down to a physiological thing that says we are wired as humans that we act on our feelings. The oldest part of our brain is our feeling part of our brain. The newest part of our brain is our thinking brain. So, so he says all decisions are made based upon how we feel. And as an example, he says we have all experienced somebody asks us something, do something, whatever, and the answer is I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it because it doesn't. So he says that's where we need to start. We need to start with why, and then we can get to the what or how. And again, Jerry Maguire is a good example of that. So for our purposes, when it comes to telling a compelling story, if the story is about why, you should say why what? I'm going to tell a compelling story about why. And the answer is why we need to change the status quo. So the very first step of Seth Godin was find something to change. Find something to change. And then the story is why we need to change the status quo. Not what we're going to change, not how we're going to change it. If you have a compelling reason why we need to change the status quo and you leave your story at that, you don't start with why and then go what and how. It's why we need to change the status quo. Who's with me? Who agrees we need to change the status quo? And some people, the true believers, are going to do what? They're going to be like Dorothy and say, I will come with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. From My Blue Heaven. Vinny, what was his name? Vinny, whatever. So Vinny would say, I'm with you. Are you with me? I'm with you. I will go with you. So you tell the story of why you need to change the status quo and you say, who's coming with me? And then they're going to say, in effect, I will come with you, wait, pause, etc., test, make sure they're really with you, and you then say what? They will then say what? What do we do now? And that's when you tell them the what and the how. Here's what we do, here's how we're going to do it. So the compelling story is only about why we need to change the status quo, and you need to touch people's heart. If you go to the movie Jobs with Ashton Kutcher, 2 times in there he's talking about, once to Wozniak, why they need to build computers, and then another one, well, actually another one to the computer store owner, and then another one when he's talking to the some of the guys building the, I think it was the Lisa. And then again, when he's talking about the iPod, it's for the housewife, the grandma in Nebraska. It's a thing for everybody. And it touches their heart. Why we need to change the status quo. Which is probably part of the reason Simon Sinek used Apple, because that's how Steve Jobs did things. In fact, you can Google this, the Steve Jobs's reality distortion field. So he would get people that he needed to do important things, he would get them to do it, and he would distort reality. Not because he'd talk about what they were going to do or how they were going to do it, but why they were going to do it, bring the people in who he needed to do it. So I would highly suggest you watch the Ashton Kutcher movie on Steve Jobs, because it really gets to the why of things. So we are at 12 minutes now. And tomorrow is David Phillips talking about the story before the story, the release of neurotransmitters to get people open to hearing your why. So David Logan is great in situations where that applies. Join tribe, nudge forward. Other times it doesn't apply, like if you want to create a tribe. And if you want to create a tribe, if you want to break away from a tribe, or if you want to get your tribe to go a different direction, if you want power, then you use Seth Godin's formula. You need to know it. You need to not like know it intellectually. You need to know it like you know your birth certificate, your birth date, or your social security number. Is you don't have to think about it. It's just automatic. Join tribe, tell a compelling story, find something to change, tell a compelling story, connect the true believers and ignore the non-true believers and lead them. That's all you need to do. So that's that. We're at 13:10. It's now time to do this. And again, when I do that, what is that? What should that make you feel? It should make you feel, oh yeah, Navy SEALs. And when you think of Navy SEALs, you should feel good. You should get a little shot of oxytocin. Like, man, Navy SEALs are cool. Navy SEALs are cool. I wish I was one. I wish I knew one. Well, you're not one, probably don't know one, but it doesn't mean you can't appreciate them. It doesn't mean you can't learn lessons from them. So yesterday was the only easy day. Push yourself a little bit more today. And speaking of that, yesterday we loaded a 20-foot truck of really good stuff. And then we tried to donate it to Crossroads or Castaway. Unfortunately, they only wanted the small stuff. And I should have taken a picture of what their warehouse looked like, because it's kind of like mountains, literally mountains of stuff. But we tried to donate it. We have stored most of it, and we will figure out how we can do a giant community swap meetup here in Pahrump at some point, where we've promoted it enough, and we're going to bring the community out to help us dispose of it. So yesterday was the only easy day. Today I do what? And so I want to thank Leonard, who yesterday helped as much as he could, which frankly was not a lot. It might have been like 5% of the work. But his attitude was good. And that was the key thing. And also there was Kona, who wasn't of much help. And though he is young and has a lot of muscle mass or mass, his claim was that being in jail for a year and a half, he had no energy. So he tapped out pretty quick. Jeff really did a good job, especially considering he's a smoker, doesn't work out. Jeff did a good job, hung in there, and just pushed on through. So great job to all of you. We wish Charlene had been there, and Anna, but Anna swept out the truck. So that's good, cool. Yesterday was the only easy day. I will be in Vegas today around noon for a brief time. Anybody that wants to see me. And lastly, 16:20. Lastly, I've reached out to Shelton. If somebody sees this, they could ask Shelton to call me. I've texted him, signaled him, called him. If somebody could ask Shelton to give me a call, that would be great. Thank you. And cut.